hate to bring it up, but the fact is it potentially bad is 1929, where we've seen the most central banks in history tightening because of lagging inflation measures, yet all the forward-looking indicators I see are collapsing.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have senior commodity strategist Mike McGlone giving us his market outlook for the stock and crypto market, as well as what we can expect from the Fed moving into 2023. McGlone believes that the world is tilting towards recession and is potentially as bad as 1929, where we've seen the most central banks in history tightening because of lagging inflation and all forward-working indicators pointing to a collapse. McGlone says the lag is typically 18 months, but this is the fourth consecutive 25 basis point hike, and they're catching up to what he thinks is going to trigger a deflationary recession and possible potential depression that was somewhat created because they created too much liquidity. Let's listen to this interview with Mike McGlone as he gives his market prediction heading into 2023 and how the Fed's next move will impact cryptocurrency as well as the global financial markets. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
Just look what the US has done in the last 10 years. It's the opposite in cryptos. Not only did we obviously created this new type of assets or money, but you look at the top two, and I don't have to get them too much, there's the complete opposite when you see in commodities. In the top two, Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's definable diminishing supply. First of all, the facts are, I've been against consensus. I mean, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, a lot of these people are calling for much higher commodities, $150 crude oil and things like that. So it's been, I was an idiot 8 months ago, less of an idiot now. It's just the simple facts of supply, demand, elasticity versus a fixed commodity. For instance, why is the price of crude oil right now about $86 a barrel, the same as it was in 2007. That's the first time it got to that price. And that what happened in the world was what was the world's largest energy importer, the US, is now a net exporter. With Canada, a massive net exporter. So we used to be OPEC's best customer. Now we're a competitor. That is what's changed in the world. And that thing you always want to point out in commodities is the lessons of the Malthusians. Thomas Malthus was an economist who kind of rivaled Adam Smith in the 18th century. And he was worried that, the population is going to go too fast for production. It's the opposite. Human ingenuity will always create more stuff at a lower cost. And that's why I tilt commodities. I'm saying you got to be bearish commodities unless you're bearish human nature and ingenuity, because we'll always come up with more ways. Just look what the US has done in the last 10 years. It's the opposite in cryptos. Not only did we obviously created this new type of assets or money, but you look at the top two, and I don't have to get them too much, there's the complete opposite when you see in commodities. In the top two, Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's definable diminishing supply by code. Now, Ethereum's less by code, but Bitcoin clearly definable diminishing supply. And you look over demand and adoption, they're clearly increasing. So it's the simple rules of Adam Smith in economics that prices have to go up over time unless something shifts that trajectory negative. And I only see it increasing, adoption and demand increasing. And it's still way early days. I mean, way less than 1% of global equities are in crypto. So that's changing. So that's the big difference. The key thing to remember is don't underestimate the forces of supply and demand elasticity to keep crude oil low and commodities low, because we can create more of it for less and we use less. And now, of course, everything's tilting towards technology. And what's part of that technology? Cryptos.
McGlone believes that people have seen that the Fed has become increasingly aggressive with a high pace of increased points. He also points out that our commodity purchasing power has been weakened with the exception of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin's diminishing supply will see a massive increase at the bottom, and as soon as that number is reached, the price for the top crypto asset will skyrocket.
The key fact is that the Federal Reserve is tightening, intensifying its tightening, almost unprecedented, as financial markets drop. I mean, one thing that you could count on for almost the last 40 years is every time the S&P 500 dropped 20%, the Fed was there to save you. And they're doing the opposite now. For a key reason is they're trying to prevent financial markets from rallying. That's a quote from our chief economist. And that's why it's a perfect day to have me on. Because I just had my morning meeting with our Bloomberg Intelligence economics team. We're all kind of on the same page. Last year, I was one of the few who just said, don't fight the Fed. And now we're getting to that extreme case. So this is on a scale 1 to 10 that happens on a global basis for everything. The Fed is the 10, and everything else is pushed lower. Like you hear what's happening in China and GDP and everything. That's just nothing right now compared to the Fed tightening as the world tilts towards recession. Our economic team says their model says there's 100% chance of a U.S. recession during the Biden administration. This is all tilting the other way. Even our Bloomberg yield strategist, Ira Jersey, who's been spot on with the Fed, he thinks yields are peaking, which means yields should drop as the world tilts towards recession. That's the key thing that's happening. And this is potentially, I hate to bring it up, but the fact is it's potentially bad as 1929, where we've seen the most central banks in history tightening because of lagging inflation measures, yet all the forward-looking indicators I see are collapsing. Look at housing. Let's look at it, except for one, and that's U.S. unemployment still sticky. Where too many people working. That's unfortunate, but that's just
I was going to say, we'll talk about that in a minute, but yes.
Yeah, but that's the key thing. So maybe Fed getting the 5%. What happens if and when they get there? What's going to happen to the economy? Everything you saw, the tightenings you've seen this year, haven't even trickled into the economy yet, barely. Maybe in mortgage brokers, yes, but this takes, the lag is typically 18 months. And this is the fourth consecutive 25 basis point hike. So they're catching up to what I think is going to trigger a enduring deflationary recession, potential depression that was somewhat created because they created too much liquidity starting 2 years ago. That's just a classic, simple economic model. Virtually every bust in history has come on the back of a big boom, on the back of easy liquidity. Now, we had the easiest liquidity ever in terms of money supply, and it's all going back now. The difference, it's global. Source of demand pull from China for the last 20 years is gone. That country's gone negative. We've been pointing out this for years, but the property crisis is way overdue. And then what's the leadership doing? They're going back to the days of Mao and communists, and that pushed Chinese into poverty. And you look at Europe, no better. There's only one engine of growth on a global scale right now in the US, and our model is for a recession. I'm pointing out facts. And this typically at this stage, you get central banks to start adding liquidity. They're still pounding the sledgehammer.
McGlone believes that as Bitcoin recovers, commodities will begin to crash. He points out that many currencies worldwide have declined tremendously, and that the impending global recession will be severe and ultimately cause those markets to collapse as well. He believes with this decline in the market, this will cause many cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, to shine. Even though McGlone holds Bitcoin in high esteem and in the lead of the coming bull run, he stresses that it is imperative that people consider holding more than one crypto in their portfolio. As markets fluctuate and the world economy changes, having a diversity in cryptocurrency allows for flexibility in considering who the next winners will be. What do you guys think about Mike McGlone's opinion about the last quarter of 2022 and moving into the new year? Let us know in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.